FNaF 4 released 10 years ago and is still regarded as one of the most enigmatic entries in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Due to this, a lot of the game can be easily misinterpreted by the average fan. One of these misinterpretations is the protagonist of the night gameplay segments. Many people, and I mean many, believe we play as the Crying Child, which would make sense, right, because we play as him in the minigames? Wrong! Crying Child being the Dreamer is quite literally the biggest misconception in the entire franchise, and I think it's so obvious that we play as Michael Afton. Like, I don't get why CC being the Dreamer is so popular in the YouTube Shorts and FNaF Talk community, as whenever I make the claim that it's Mike, my comment sections on both platforms are filled with CC being the Dreamer supporters. Anyways, this video will go through pretty much most of the evidence of Mike being the Dreamer and showing how it's basically confirmed. With that in mind, make sure to like and subscribe as it would be well appreciated, and you can always change your mind in the future. Now, let's start this video. The first main evidence of Mike being the Dreamer is that in the survival logbook, Mike draws Nightmare Fredbear under a question regarding recent dreams. This would confirm that Mike is the player of FNaF 1, or at least the nights where Nightmare Fredbear is introduced. However, the next piece of evidence proves that Mike is the protagonist of every night. This is because that in all of the nights, there is a high chance you can hear a reversed and muffled version of the FNaF 1 Night 1 phone call made by Ralph the week before FNaF 1. Not only this would prove Mike Schmidt is Michael Afton, but it also proves that night gameplay segments take place after the events of FNaF 1. Since FNaF 1 takes place in the 90s, probably 1993 as it has the best evidence, then CC cannot have known this call. Not only this, but Scott has stated himself that FNaF 4 doesn't have any random easter eggs, so the phone guy Night 1 sound is an intentional lore implication. The next piece of evidence is that the Nightmare animatronics parallel their FNaF 1 counterparts in terms of behaviour and movement, as Nightmare Chica attacks on the right and can be heard in the kitchen, which is the same as FNaF 1 Chica. Nightmare Bonnie attacks on the left, which is the same as his FNaF 1 version. Nightmare Foxy has to be constantly watched by the player, and he also hides, which is the same as his FNaF 1 version. Nightmare Freddy hides in the shadows and attacks from behind, which is similar to his FNaF 1 version. All this further proves that Michael Afton is having nightmares after the events of FNaF 1. Another piece of evidence is that IV bags, flowers and pills can be spotted beside the bed at some occasions. The only relevant people who would have seen these at the hospital since CC was unconscious after the bite and likely remained in a coma until his death were William Afton and Michael Afton. Since William is definitely not the Dreamer, this will be evidence for Mike, and the reason why he's seeing these is probably due to the guilt from the bite. In fact, the pills are probably his own, as in the FNaF movie, a similar looking pill bottle can be seen next to Mike's bed, which are his sleeping pills, and Mike Schmidt in the movie is an alternate version of Michael Afton. A small piece of evidence is that even after CC dies on night 6, the nightmares still continue regardless, so it further proves he isn't the Dreamer. Now with all the evidence out of the way, let's go through the debunks that people use to confirm that CC is the Dreamer. A lot of people say that since we play as a child in the gameplay segments due to the height, and also the Steam description supports this, by saying playing as a child whose role is yet unknown, which many people use to say that we don't play as Mike. However, this is such a bad point, because well, it's a dream where anything can happen to your body. Furthermore, Mike literally becomes his childhood self in a dream in the FNaF movie, proving that this stuff, which does happen IRL, also happens in the FNaF multiverse. Another debunk that they use is that the character encyclopedia heavily implies that Crying Child is the Dreamer. However, this book is very inconsistent. Firstly, it has many errors such as saying Bonbon appears in FNaF 3 when he doesn't. Also implies Burnt Trap is Afton, which is probably not the case anymore as it's now more likely to be the Mimic. So it's pretty much more likely the logbook has more validity. Also, they didn't even have Mike in the character encyclopedia for some reason, or Phone Guy, all the missing children, so yeah, it's very inconsistent. And that's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching. I know it's a short one, but I just had to get the video out there, so I hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about Michael Afton, I have a whole 16-minute analysis video on the character, so the link will be in the description below. Anyways, like, subscribe, stay safe out there, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Goodbye!